actually they're cracking from that corrosion that they're talking about, which could cause failures. And
yeah.
Now you're going fast when you get Donald to stop talking.
Hey guys, it's Sean. I'm here with Dan Foston, technician at Porsche. We're at Porsche of Warwick here in Warwick, Rhode Island. And this is where not only do we purchase all of our Porsches for the collection, but we also service them. And many of you guys probably already know, but there's a recall that Porsche announced for the Carrera GT that involves some of the wishbones and suspension components and a few other things, and ours so happens to be here on the lift, almost done with its recall. And Dan has taken good care of the car and been showing me around a little bit of what has happened and what he's done to it. And we're going to go into a little depth today of what he's done and what the recall looks like. So that's what we're going to be doing. So I think we've talked about this for a little while. Parts have been on order for a few months, and
yes,
we knew the car was going to come here, and so talk us through a little bit about what not only the preparation looked like for doing this, but what it entailed.
preparation was really getting our parts here, getting a car here, and then the getting it on the lift was also challenging. But
yeah, what a lot of people, and what a lot of people don't realize is the amount of parts, right?
Right. There's, I think there's 134 parts that were ordered for this recall,
which also includes tires.
Tires, yep.
Which we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, this was not your typical recall where you had to replace an airbag or something like that. This required very valuable, expensive components that were made for this car for lightweight purposes, strength, and of course, Porsche being the brand that it is, really holds true to its cars and its customers. And even though the car is 20 years old now, or 20 years old, 2004, this is a 2004 model, they really stand by it and are honoring the product that it put out.
Right.
Yeah. So if we take a look, what are some of the things that you did? Well, we're at the rear, so why don't we start at the rear?
Start at the rear. So we've replaced both upper and lower control arms.
Which you can see right here.
Yeah. They are a Heim joint suspension system, so there's no rubber bushings for affecting preload or anything like that.
Yeah.
Up inside here we have the tie rod ends for toe adjustment that were replaced as part of it. So we'll end up doing an alignment on this car once we're completed and everything else is taken care of.
Yeah. And from what I understand, the alignment is not just the normal alignment, right?
It's not. It can be pretty involved.
Yeah, because the car is such a high-speed performance.
If there's any, say, ride height issues that we need to address first, there's a possibility of taking off the front tub and things of that nature. But I'm really hoping for not.
We don't have to. Yeah, didn't they allocate like 14 hours of?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, it's a 14-hour job on paper to do just the alignment.
The alignment can be pretty involved. Yeah, 8 to 12 hours. Physical time. So.
Yeah. Pretty incredible. So the rear end, a lot of the suspension, or the major suspension components, and we see that similar on the front end, correct?
Yes, definitely. Same idea on the front end, upper and lower control arms. No tie rod ends in the front, which I wasn't sure about, but that's that. The other thing that we're also replacing in the rear is these push rods that actually activate the suspension up and down. But that was just for the rear. The front was pretty straightforward, upper and lowers, measurements coming off and on. So
yeah, it's pretty unique to see with all the shielding taken off of the car, the components. You can actually really get a good view of everything that goes on, all the markings from the factory from when it was new, indicating it's a U.S. car, which is pretty cool. It's very, very rare that you get to see the car in this state, which is cool to see. What's also incredible is you over time the 20 years tire performance and technology has
changed
substantially.
Yep.
And with that being said, we are getting a new set of tires, Michelin tires.
Yep.
and they just ran this car with those tires, not the specific car, but a Carrera GT with the tires at the Nürburgring, and it posted about a 7-minute
it took off 15 seconds off its original lap time, which is
wild.
huge.
Yeah. So I think we'll have to take this car to the Nürburgring and see if we can, now that the recall is going to be done, we'll have new tires. What do you think?
Yeah.
We had this car serviced about 1.5 years ago, and we did put new tires on it. We put Michelin Super Sports. That was what was available at the time. But now they're providing Sport Cup 2s, which is what we put on all of our Porsches, our performance-oriented cars, which is really exciting. Really the best tire you can get. And this is the tire that ran on the car.
For the Nürburgring, right?
Lap. Yep. Yeah. So is there anything, obviously, center locking, you got to torque it. Is there anything unique about that to this? Balancing the wheels?
The wheels. Center locking, no, it's that's a 3-step process, on and off, just to seat the wheel back on. We have the ability, we have a torque multiplier, which helps us so we don't have to get out these long bars to crank on these locks to get them down, which makes life way easier.
Are the torque specs any different on the Carrera GT than other center locks, or are they?
Yeah, they're a little bit less than the newer cars, like the new GT3s. They're at 404 foot-pounds versus 454 foot-pounds.
Interesting. Yeah.
On an RS or even a GT3 or any of our center locks.
Do you think that has to do with the weight of the car?
Yeah, and the materials made. I mean, and there's no the safeties on these come out of the hub versus they're not built into the center lock like on a newer car.
Great. So why don't we look at the front end?
Sure.
You can show us a little bit there. So similar to the rear.
Very similar to the rear. Lower control arm, bolts to the monocoque. Same thing in the uppers.
And you were saying this over here was the main issue, right? Or
so
concern?
the actual mounting points, and I've seen a couple of pictures where this is actually, they're cracking from that corrosion that they're talking about, which could cause failures and not so good things to be happening.
Right. So like I said, they took the initiative and decided that those need to be replaced. So very cool.
Yeah.
So of course the car, being aerodynamic, has a complete shield, if you will, an underbody component. Did you have to take that off for the service?
I did. So the front one, they all have to come off. Starting from the front, working your way back.
Yeah.
If you want, you can see some of the cooling system that's protected by that carbon fiber panel. That's here. Not much down the center other than these pipes running right down the center, and then exposes the engine on the backside with that rear one off. But yeah, there's a series of bolts that hold it, and they're length dependent on where they came off of, so you'll probably see some markings.
Mark every single. Yeah.
I have stuff marked under there to let me know where it was what, because we don't typically.
If you put one bolt there,
Well, you don't want to risk putting a long bolt in a short hole and risking cracking any kind of carbon fiber that goes with that.
Yeah, that's incredible. And your typical recall is when you what is it? A few pages long, if that.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, if it's a campaign for a recall for programming, it's usually 1 or 2 pages.
Yeah.
This particular recall is a 40-page bulletin. That goes
so
with
it's a little more substantial.
Yes, and definitely involved, and just certain things you got to really pay attention to, especially with this car. So.
Yeah. Well, you've been servicing our cars for a while, so we know what you're doing.
We enjoy servicing your cars and getting them in and out as quickly as possible. But
I appreciate you showing us a little bit about it, and thanks again for
you're welcome.
taking such good care of her.